Okay, we should be live. So here we go.
We are live.
Yes, we are. All right. Awesome. Okay, let me get this.
Ooh, chat's gone all funny though.
Okay, I don't know what happened with the chat. Hold on.
The monkeys are in.
The monkeys are in. I don't see anybody in the chat.
A team of highly trained monkeys has been dispatched to deal with the situation, so the chat isn't working.
What? Okay, Tim says he's the first. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Oh, is yours working your end?
Yeah, it's working.
Oh, it's my end. It's not working. Let me go out of YouTube and go back in.
That's okay. Hi, Tim. Okay. How's it going? Glad that you joined us. We're going to have, hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. Hi, Iowa. Great. I'm glad you guys are here. Starting to pop in. Give it a couple minutes for everybody. So you guys, hi, Tim. First monkey.
Awesome. Sorry about that. My chat was said trained monkeys are in fixing the chat.
So for anybody who's watching the replay, my name is Michelle Thompson, and this is Trisha G. And we're here to help with raising your consciousness. And so that's why we call it Cosmic Consciousness, to give you the tools and the accessories and all the things that you need to help you elevate your consciousness. And hi, Shannon, how are you? And so basically what we're here to do is to, have conversations. We talk about, if you've never seen us before, we bring up our own shit. We talk about our stuff, and we show you like through our own example and the things that we've learned, on how to get through this. And I recently just had like a revelation today. And here's the ironic thing is most of the time, Trish and I talk about stuff before we do a show. And tonight, I was kind of running late, and I had a really busy weekend and we haven't had a chance to talk. So we're sort of winging it here. So it's going to be interesting how this goes. So, all right. So what we're going to be talking about, I'm surprised my phone's working. Wait. Oh, well, that's great. See, you needed to hear this. This is awesome. So we're going to be talking about fear, and I named this fear of fear. But I mean, the bottom line is that fear is the dark deceptor. And here's the funny thing is that actually I was going to name it that, and I totally forgot. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, but fear is like the dark deceptor. It's the thing that actually holds you a catalyst to everything in your life. And the bottom line is that whatever it is that we fear, we manifest. And here's the thing. I was having a conversation with one of my clients today, and she was talking about, wanting to get past this whole thing of lack of self-worth. And she's doing really well. And so, hi, Maria, how are you doing? And she's doing amazing right now, but she's like, come on, let's do some hypnosis to kind of reinforce this. And I said, well, before we do this, I want to have a chat with you. And so I said, do you understand that what it is that you believe within yourself is what you see in your world? You see, if I believe, okay, so like, I know this is a really hard one because you're like, well, this person's really doing this. And so the bottom line is, so I'm going to use a real easy one. Okay. If you were a cheater, okay, if you are a cheater, and then you're going to believe that other people are cheaters as well. So every person that you date, they're going to believe they're cheaters. So you can only see with what you see within yourself, or what you believe within your life, or what you feel is true. So let's say you have a series of events that have happened and you're like, but Michelle, this has actually happened. But what I need you to do is I need you to look at that and reflect on it and see what is the reason it's happening. Have you given it too much power? Have you, has it upset you? Or you see what happens is that the fear causes you to create this world where a one-time event turns into multiples, and it expands into something even bigger and bigger and bigger because you're putting too much energy into it, and that fear causes it to manifest into your life. You look like you're sitting on edge. You want to say something? Go for it.
No, sorry. I just apologize. My son, I had to mute because my son's shouting at me, Mom, Mom. I'm like, oh my gosh. He doesn't realize we're live. So yeah. sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good. You're good. So the thing is that, so like when I was talking to her today, I was like, okay, so for instance, she has a relative that is constantly acting very jealous and competing with her all the time. And so we got to the bottom of it. And I said, I really want you to look at it from her perspective. Okay. So we spent a lot of time in the last session looking at her perspective, and come to find out that she's from an Indian family. And the firstborn son is always the greatest and the most wonderful. And they actually say that all the time. And so, they're constantly saying, in American families, they don't like go around saying, we love both of you equally, Well, not in Indian families. They like literally go, he's the favorite. We love him the most. And they do that. So she's always had to like prove her worth, always having to prove her worth. So the oldest child gets marries this really pretty girl. She's amazing. She's awesome. She's incredible. She goes and gets a law degree. She gets a design degree. She decides to change her career. She decides to make all wonderful things in her life. And guess what happens? This girl starts getting jealous, and she starts following her footprints, and she starts doing everything she's doing. Okay. And so what ends up happening is that it's causing constant havoc in everything. If she has a party, she has a party. She tries to outdo her. If she has a friend, she tries to grab her friend. And the problem is that it's really driving her crazy. So I said to her, let's reflect on the issue, because what is happening in your life is a result of your own beliefs, your own feelings. Okay. And it's not because she doesn't have the feelings of what do you call it? She doesn't have the feelings of wanting to compete. She doesn't need to compete. She's amazing. Okay. What her feelings are is unworthiness. Okay. And the reason this girl's behaving this way is because of her self-worth, because brother was told he's amazing. And it was really funny because I was telling her this, and her husband was sitting in the room, and he's like, but I am amazing. And I started laughing, and I was like, yes, you are. So that's not the point. and it was really funny. But the bottom line is that the reason that this is happening to her, and why it keeps on happening to her in other areas of her life, is people like this are showing up, and they're behaving a certain way because she hasn't dealt with her own self-worth. And her own self-worth is manifesting people that have problems with self-worth. And that self-worth issues cause people to become defensive and angry and competitive and stuff. And it's reflecting on her life. So I said, basically, you can only see in her what you see in yourself. So what you're doing is you're mirroring it back. And once you get this under control and you start seeing yourself as amazing, you'll view her differently. You'll see her differently. And these things won't come up in your life the way that they're coming up. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
No, I can concur with that, because I've had an EFT session tonight with Anna, who I had on, who I'm starting to do a Friday weekly show with. She's from the UK. And like she said to me at the beginning, which she's right, and like we're saying, everything is, and she said, I think you'll take it okay, but some people don't. Everything's within you. So if you're seeing things in a certain way, it's within you. If you're seeing people act in a certain way. So even with the EFT, the way she works is like, that's what we discussed tonight about. And then this is why the inner work is so important, isn't it? Like you say, whatever modality, whether it's how Michelle works, whatever it is that you use, people will either show up differently or you will just see them differently.
Absolutely. And that even goes with spirit guides. Okay. So that's those, like, you guys that like to channel, or you do whatever it is you do, or meditate and you talk to your spirit guides. It's the same thing. Your spirit guide is going to present itself in the way that you feel within yourself. I told one of my clients the other day, she's like, I'm afraid of, getting into, like communicating with spirit guides, or because I'm afraid that something dark might show up. And I said, the only darkness exists is within yourself. So the only thing that's going to show up in that space is what's in you. Okay. And so if you start seeing demons while you're meditating or something like that, that's the demons inside of yourself that you need to shoot and kill and say, get out of here. Okay. And
because hands up, I've never gone to meditate and thought, oh, what if I channel a demon or a dark entity? Never have I thought that ever, because it's just not been in my consciousness.
So then you will never experience that. Okay. But other people, like, and it's like,
it could be learned behavior, or they've learned it from somewhere. It doesn't mean to say they might have believed if you channel that you channel dark things.
Right, exactly. Okay, so I'll give you an example of somebody that I know that this happened to. So she was like, she started doing the pendulum thing, and she said, her mom said to her, "Ooh, I'm really kind of scared of that. That reminds me of a Ouija board, and Ouija boards are evil." And so she was like, "Oh, I don't believe in that." And she never really thought about that until her mom said that. And so then suddenly she starts noticing that this being that was coming through was giving her misinformation. Okay. And she was like, "I don't understand. This isn't making sense. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my subconscious, maybe something. And bottom line is it was her own fears that was causing this to happen. So as I was like, so my whole epiphany thing that I had today was when I was channeling, I asked for a prayer. And I said, I want to do a prayer because I was thinking about this whole thing because I'd had that session with her and I thought, okay, I think this might be a really good topic. And so I said, I want to do a prayer, to remove fear so that so people can experience abundance. And I like the whole, prayer to the angels thing. I thought that was kind of cool because I did that Metatron one and I thought, okay, I'll do one this time on fear. And so I asked who would be the angel, and it said Raphael. And I thought in the back of my mind, I was like, well, is Raphael the angel that removes fear? And so I had to Google it because I wasn't trusting. And so I Googled it and it said Raphael's removes fear to abundance. And I went, oh my God, that's the topic that I want to talk about. And so I went ahead and I made I recorded the audio. It's like 5 minutes. But I channeled the prayer. Okay. But I didn't channel the pendulum. I actually channel writing. I used to do a lot of channel writing all the time. And so I channel wrote the prayer. And as I went back and then I started reading it, when I read it out loud, it started making this connection with me. And literally, like, I just started crying. And I said, I think that you have more for me. So I'm going to go and meditate. So I went and I meditated and I was given some really profound stuff during this meditation. And it was like, a lot of times what we have in our life is you don't want, a lot of times, especially with spiritual people, okay, we have a tendency of like sugarcoating everything and looking at things and like saying, oh, I don't want to look at that, or I don't want to see that, or I don't like that, or that's too negative for me, or, that kind of stuff. And so I think that a lot of times we're not really dealing with what's inside of us. And instead of like saying, okay, I'm dealing with this issue, we would rather say, oh, I'm really light in love and all this other stuff. Well, of course you're light in love, but that doesn't mean that you don't have issues.
That
right?
might be just the surface. What's stuffed down is
but I mean, we all have issues, okay, and that we need to work on and overcome and everything. And I was, and as I was doing this, he was basically showing me, how you really have to believe that you're worthy of this, or that it's okay to have it. Because I think probably with me, the biggest thing that I have had to deal with wasn't self-worth. It was more of, would that be greed?
Right.
Would that be too much? Am I asking for too much? And basically, he said, by having that belief, you're going to always see that life. Your reality will create that. And that's what he was telling me. He's like, Michelle, your reality will create that.
But will you see greed in other people?
No, that I won't be able to.
Oh, that you'll be thinking you're too greedy because you think, oh, I'm asking too much, when you may not be.
I will only get what I need. Okay. Yeah. Because I've said so many times, I don't need a lot to live. I don't need much. I can live minimalistic. I can do this. And
But the thing with that, I always say to people is, if you've got lots of money, you can do great things with money. And
I know, exactly.
That's what I want to get across to people. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of money, because you're going to be less stressed. Because try living with no money, because this world, you can't. You've got to be realistic. But if you've got a lot of money, it's not bad. You can do great things. You can help. Look how many people you could help if you don't want to keep ill for yourself. That's how I look at it.
That's actually true. And so that was one of the things he was explaining to me. And he's like, if you're happy, if you're not stressed, if you're not worried about, okay, well, I manifested this month's income. Okay, now I got to manifest next month's, and you're always in that state, then he said, you're going to constantly be, he goes, that's the only world you're going to see. Okay, that's it. And he said, your reality, your fear is holding you hostage to that reality. And that's the only reality you're going to see. So it's what you believe. So everything internal, like if I believe I'm not worthy of something, then I'm going to see unworthy people in my face. If I don't believe that if I believe that greed, if you have too much, or you're asking for too much, that's greedful or that's bad, then all I'm going to see in my world is not necessarily greedy people by might, but I'm also going to see, I'm only going to get what I feel that I deserve.
And also, on the surface, we could say, I'm worthy of this, I'm worthy of that, I'm worthy of having it easy. Yeah. But if our subconscious is telling you, because that's what's running the show.
Right, exactly. That's what I was trying to say earlier, is that us as spiritual people, we have a tendency of pushing that part down. Yeah. And we walk around saying, oh, we can't say this and we can't say that and we can't do this and we can't be that. And I've got to say the right words, and all that kind of stuff. And we're not looking at the real issue, and we're not dealing with that. We're not working on that. We're like pushing it aside, and we're not, and I find that I see this a lot. I was like, greed is good.
But actually what you're saying is, I actually watched a guy, this ties in, he's in Australia, but he's British, and he did a Facebook Live, and it ties in because he's saying what you said. He was telling the story, he's gone public with how he was abused as a child, because telling the whole story about, and he's in his probably 60s now, where his mother left for some reason. His father was really ill and got, took him to hospital, electric shock treatment. And he was in Australia at this point and was fostered out. And the picture of the woman, straight away, I was like, that woman is pure evil. Like, I don't know what this woman's done, but she is evil. Her eyes, it was just, well, anyway, he was telling the story. But what he wanted to get onto is, like, in the spiritual world, so many people like love and light, it's all sugar coated, love and light. They haven't dealt with their demons, as you put, because we've all got, even if you think you have the perfect childhood, there'll be something.
You know what? I was telling one of my clients today that I was like, she was telling me that she went to this class and she was really disappointed because she felt like she was thinking this person's like supposed to be spiritual or something, but she had all this fear. And I said, you're going to find that a lot. And I said, I heard, what is his name? Global Witness. I heard him say that all you guys who think you're all enlightened, you're so spiritual, you're not. And it really kind of rang true, because I recognize that. I see that a lot. I see a lot of people, putting on an image, especially people that are trying to be leaders or teachers and all this other stuff. They've got their own shit. And one of the things that I've always vowed, and this was something because I saw this in the church. Okay. And so I vowed to myself that I was always going to be totally honest on here, and I would lay my shit out there, and I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to say, what I'm dealing with, what I'm working on, this is what I discovered, blah, 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 because I don't want to ever, because that's growing. Okay. Because
I see so many on YouTube.
you
There's
know?
so many on YouTube that I even seen, not naming any names, that are pretending to have this image, and it's all lies. That they're just being fake. And
Well, but I think that their intention is good. It's just that they're not, they're a lot of times they're suppressing stuff. Okay. But
to me, they're tricking people. That's been a bit of a trickster.
well, sometimes some of these people are not doing it intentionally, Trisha.
No, that's my take on it. That's how I see it.
No, and I understand what you're saying, and that's it. It's kind of like the gypsy that sits on the side of the road. Okay. And you know, like, and she's very talented and she's capable of doing all these things. She can read your palm, and she can see your future, and she can do all these things, but her whole world around her is chaotic and crazy, and you know, and her husband's cheating on her, and all these bad things are happening, and all this other stuff. Well, like, if that stuff is happening in your life, that usually means that there's stuff that you have to work on, because it's appearing in your life because of fear that you have and issues you have not overcome, because you will see those things in your life if you haven't reflected on the stuff that's inside. And
because I don't know about you, but I won't work with people on subjects that I am not healed in myself. Like, I will not claim to be like someone who can train you to become a millionaire, because I'm not one. This is taking an extreme example. I'm not somebody that can train you to become a millionaire like some people can, or whatever you want to be, because I'm not one myself. So I would be being fake. But there are people out there that are teaching people.
It is a scary thought that people are actually listening to and following people that
false prophets, as I say,
have gotten their stuff worked out, because they have a bad day, and when they have a bad day, it shows up on these videos sometimes, and people follow them blindly, and or you know, they're putting on this big, oh, and I'm so light, and this is, you know, if people are telling you, here's the first rule of thumb, okay? If somebody's telling you that you shouldn't do something, first warning or first what is it called? Not a warning.
Red flag.
Red flag. Yeah, that's the first red flag. If somebody tells you that that you're doing everything wrong, or that you should do this or this or this or this or this, that is a red flag. Okay. And you should never, ever, 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 as a spiritual leader, tell anybody that they need to quit or do something different, because you don't know what their guide is working with them on, and what that particular thing is supposed to do for them in their life. So, for example, so that's like somebody playing God. So it's like, say, hypothetically, somebody smokes, okay? And they say, oh, I got a good one. I got a great one. Okay, so I work part-time. So I work full-time. I work all the time.
Gotta work number 8, workaholic.
I know, workaholic. I work all the time. Anyways, so I work a full-time job here. I work 8 hours, sometimes 10 hours a day, usually about 8, in my office seeing clients. Okay, and then on the weekends, I work in a smoke shop. And in the smoke shop, we sell like vapes and all kinds of paraphernalia and stuff. And so I usually kind of focus more on the vape stuff because I know more about it. And so somebody comes in and they're talking to me about a device that's broken, and I'm helping them, and I'm fixing their problem. I'm taking it apart and I'm fixing it and I'm doing all this stuff. Now, if somebody says to me, let's say hypothetically, some spiritual leader says to me that I'm in a negative environment and it's low energy because people are doing drugs, then if somebody tells me that, okay, well, let me just tell you a few things that's happened since I've worked there. Ever since I've worked there, I have had I've literally almost blessed a couple of people, alter their life in a minute or two. And the girl that I was fixing her pipe, she walked away oh my God, because I just left her with a couple of words and I treated her with kindness. And I said, Let me fix this for you. I'm going to do this. And I said, you're better than that. Walk away, this or that. Cause she was telling me her whole life story while I was fixing everything for her. Another guy came in and he was looking for some CBD. He's having seizures. The man had to sit on the floor because he started having a seizure in the middle of the floor. So I'm trying to explain to him about CBD, and I'm doing it at the best knowledge that I have. And I'm explaining to him about dosage and how you figure it out and all this other stuff and what's misleading and the things. This is why it's not working, is because your dosage needs to be higher. And I was explaining to him that we only carry like up to 500 milligrams. And I said, look, I know somebody who carries up to 2,500. I'm going to give you a contact. She's a microbiologist. She started this thing for a very specific reason. She knows her shit. I called her while I was standing there with this guy. Long story short, he was taking the wrong dosage. Why the reason why he wasn't able to get this under control. She sat down, had coffee with this guy, the whole 9 yards. I pretty much probably saved the guy's life just because I work at a smoke shop and I did that. Okay. And by just passing that information on. And the guy was like, and all I'm doing is explaining stuff to him. I'm just giving him knowledge. That's it. And
it could be just a conversation you're having with people.
Explaining to him, and he reaches over, puts his hand on my hand, and his tears start running out of his eyes. And he goes, I just have to tell you, thank you so much. You are so kind. Nobody else would have taken this much time to explain all this to me. They just would have said, here, buy this. And you know, I start getting all teary eyed, you know, of course, you know me, the crier, right? And so I was like, don't cry, I'm going to cry, you know? And so the whole thing is that, you know, I have, you know, you don't know what those guides have you there for. Okay. And so for somebody to tell you, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, you know, they don't know what the bigger plan is. Okay. If I didn't work there, I wouldn't have been able to help people. And that's just 2 stories. That's nothing. It happens every single time I'm working there. There's somebody that some way, somehow, I've actually touched them in some way by just doing simple stuff.
Yeah.
And that changed their life. So what, you know, anytime somebody gives you like, you know, the spiritual leaders and stuff, they're like, or whatever, profound, whatever they are, something, guru, whatever, you know, or I'm the best at this and I know this and I've read this scriptures and or whatever it is that they're doing. If they're telling you to stop something, you've got to feel within your own guidance system that your guide is telling you to stop. And that means if you listen to your higher self and your guidance system is saying to you to stop something, then you better freaking stop it, because your guidance is trying to move you in that direction, because there's a new path for you to go on that's going to take you somewhere else. Right? Okay.
And another red flag for me is when somebody lists how many degrees they've got in, I've seen a lot of women do it, well, men and women, how many degrees they've got. You could have somebody, I haven't got a degree in anything, like a physical degree. I've probably in the military gone to the level of nearly a degree, but I've not got but just because somebody hasn't got a degree doesn't mean to say they could not have a profound effect on your life, help change your life, guide you. When somebody's reeling off all their qualifications all the time, that to me is another red flag as well.
But see, all that does is put fear in people. And see, that's the issue right there. We're going right back full circle to fear, because what they're doing is they're placing fear in that person, because they're fearful that they can't be good enough. They're fearful that they're not worthy enough. They're fearful that they can't, because I didn't quit smoking. Because I didn't quit drinking. Because I didn't do this. Because I have 2 or 3 sex partners or whatever it is. I'm not saying these things are right and you should go out and do it. What I'm saying is that you have to listen to your inner self. And as long as you're listening to fear, you're never going to be on the right track. You're always going to be living in this virtual reality world where everything manifests in the way that you think. And so if you're fearful of this, then you're going to be constantly like, I can't stop drinking. So you're going to be always having temptation of people that are drinking around you because you believe that. But the second you change your mind and you start thinking about something different and you decide to listen to your internal self instead of everybody else out there or some guru person or somebody self-made, whatever he is, telling you that don't drink, well, then you feel guilty and you feel bad and you feel like shit, right? Because you
do if you buy into it.
Because I didn't stop drinking, Well,
see, I wouldn't buy into that, but a lot of people would. They'd feel bad for having a drink, whereas I wouldn't.
Exactly. Honestly, okay, so let's just talk about Christ, for God's sake. Okay, what did he do? He goes into a poor man's house with beggars and stealers and all these people that do all this bad stuff, and he walks in there, and what does he do? He got to have dinner with him. He washes their feet. Okay. And then his disciple said, Lord, Lord, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? These are like beggars and stealers and, and all this other stuff. And he goes, go tend your own shit, basically. He goes, because those people that are good, they don't need me. These people need me. Okay. So, all this judgment shit is causing you to have fear.
Okay. Excuse me, I've got itchy ears tonight for some reason.
That's okay. That's because it's like it's going, hey, listen.
My ears are really light. I went to scratch them. Sorry. No, I was going to say something to that.
I haven't even been looking at the room, and it's like going crazy. People are like talking.
I was going to say something to add to that, and it's gone now. Oh yeah, about the inner work. Like, people might be thinking, you see, for me, you do need to do, well, this is how I feel, some sort of modality that is going to change your subconscious, because I've tried doing it by consciously, right, I'm going to see this person in a different light, or I'm going to see myself. Yeah. I can't do it. It doesn't maintain it. Like I said, with the way you work, like it's the reframing, isn't it?
So reframing is part of it, but it's
that's part of what you do.
Changing the belief system. Reframing is actually forces the subconscious mind to start thinking differently. And you guys that don't know about that, I'm doing a whole program on that, so you can actually go back and watch it. I'm going to be live tomorrow at 7:00 on part 3. So
anyway, that's what I mean. It's like I don't feel we can do it without some sort of modality, whether it's what you do, whether it's hypnosis, whether it's, like I say, I did tonight EFT and like completely changed. Before that hour, I couldn't even see a certain person in a certain light, and by the end of the hour, there was no charge to it. And I was.
But let's look at that, and let's kind of just go based on what we're talking about. So I know you don't want to divulge too much about a particular person.
I'm okay.
But what is it about this person that's upsetting you?
Well, it was a childhood thing.
Oh, it's a childhood thing.
Which is affecting my life now. And I was seeing this person in a way of like controlling.
Is this person something affected you in childhood, or is this person a reflection from that?
No, they affected me in childhood, and it's still affecting me now. And I could only see them in this one or two ways, like they're controlling, this. But at the end of it, I was like,
okay, so basically, what's happened here is that when you look at that person, it's not the outside thing. You've got to look at what that person's about and go deeper. Like with that one lady I was telling you. I was like, what's the bottom line? Why is this girl acting this way? So what's the bottom line with this guy? Why did he behave that way? Like dig into it and kind of find out the root cause of why this person was this way. And let's say hypothetically, okay, because I don't know the situation. This is something we'll probably talk privately about. But if let's say that he was molested as a child, okay, or something like that, and he's got insecurities about his worth with a partner. Okay. Let's just say that is the root cause for all of that. Okay. Hypothetically. And he's always feeling like somebody's going to take advantage of him, or somebody's going to abuse him, or somebody's going to hurt him. And so if that's the root cause of his behavior, then you've got to take that root cause and reflect it on yourself and say, okay, am I feeling this way? Do I always feel like somebody's going to hurt me? Do I always feel like somebody's going to take advantage of me? Do I have trust issues? And that's the thing you need to work on. And then when you work on that, that's when you'll be able to see him in a different light.
Yeah. Well, what we did was we took away the charge from the things that happened. It was a family member. And then I could see them in that different light. Like you've just said, they might have been abused, so they might have been sexually abused, so they're acting out in all those ways. And then I could see them in a different light, like the wounded child, really, that they are.
That's awesome, because she had you see that he was abused, because I don't know the situation. So.
Well, no, that's what came out of it was, well, actually, how do you think of this person now? And I'm like, well, actually, see this wounded little boy that's probably been, you know, X, Y, and Z. And I don't see it as this control. So now hopefully that person will show up, or I'll see them differently, and I'll see other people differently that he.
But you also got to reflect on the wounded child inside of you.
Oh yeah. I understand. I mean, I'm just like.
And I think you touched base on it, and you're able to see it. And the fact that because that was an aha moment for my client too, because when she was able to see her sister-in-law as a person that got suppressed and told you're not good enough, you're not this, and she saw that, she was able to reflect on that because she felt the same way. And then suddenly she felt sympathy. And just in the fact that you can actually have compassion for that person, that can heal it in itself.
I just needed to cut the charge of this thing that was on loop within me. And once we cut the charge, then I could see them in a whole different light. And then hopefully I'll see the world in a different light. And these people that reflected him won't keep showing up in my life.
I agree with that. And I think that what you did was really helped you kind of see things. And everything she did is kind of like what I'm saying. She just used a tool to help you see it. She helped you see the root issue with this man. And just by being able to acknowledge that, it actually helped when you have compassion like that. And you're like, oh, I can see a wounded child. Oh, I kind of feel sorry for him. And then suddenly it heals your own inner child. You see, it kind of, and just reflecting on that and being able to have sympathy for that person helps you move past your own issues.
Because what we were looking at was one particular subject, but then you don't necessarily go straight for that. There's other things. And then what will happen, and like with your work, is over the weeks and months, things will start to show up differently, or, you know, manifest differently. So it's quite, this is why I don't feel anybody can get rid of this stuff by just sit there thinking, it's gone, because you've got to get rid of that charge out your body in whatever modality that you use, because they're just going to run on loop in your subconscious.
No, I absolutely agree with that. And
all the positive thinking of the world will not. I've tried it. I've done it for years and it didn't work. You've got to feel it. You've got to literally feel it. It's like, one of the things that I love about Tony Robbins is that he does this. You guys, you should all watch it. Okay. Look it up. It's called Tony Robbins, The Difference Between a Winner and a Loser. Okay. And he basically talks about the fact that he calls it, he hates affirmations. He says he does this thing called incantations. And so the difference is like with an affirmation, you're going, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. It's like, I still don't feel it. It's not working. Well, that's because you haven't embodied that. That's why you haven't embraced that emotion. He said, you've got to feel it physically. You've got to embody that emotion. So you've got to go, I'm happy, and you've got to like scream it, and you move your body and force yourself up and stand up straight and look at, and do that. And he's like, and he, I know I'm dramatic. But it's true. If you sit there going, I'm happy. I
swear, it's like my customers, they laugh at me half the time because I'll make them stand up and like scream and dance and do stuff that's like, I'm like, come on, scream it. I'll put on like the Rocky Balboa song and I'll start telling them, scream it, louder, louder, louder. And if they, and if that didn't work, I get a drum out. Now that's
why when you're dancing and singing, because you're really getting into it, you feel good.
Yeah, like the happy song. That's another one I'll put on. Or I'll get a drum out. And now sometimes, like I said, get really, really freaking angry. I need you to get freaking angry, but angry with yourself so much that you're telling your subconscious mind, this is it, no more, And so I'll tell them to get a drum, and I have a drum in my office. But I don't have one in this room because I have 2 spaces. So this is like my office with my computer and all this other stuff. And I have another like session room. And so in there I have a drum. And so I'll get them, we'll pretend like this is a drum. So I'll get them like, bang on that drum and and they're like, I'm so upset with myself. I'm letting go of my anger, letting go of my fear. And I'm like, I don't believe you. And they're just looking at me like, what?
Like a drill instructor.
I do. And it's so funny. and it's, it's like, the funny thing is that outside of my office, I'm really kind of a quieter person. I'm more of a sensitive person, and so like in my office, like we're doing work, we're getting busy. And so it's like a whole different thing, it's like, I have to do this. This is the way, because this is what works. This is what's going to get you moving. And so, yeah, I mean, you want to get rid of some of that stuff. You're going to have to command your subconscious mind. And that in this video, he explains that. He goes, I command my subconscious mind to release, and he just like screams it. You should watch it. It's really good. He does 2 of them. And
I don't know whether I've seen that one. I've watched a lot of his stuff in the past. I know people that have been from the UK, even over to America specifically to see him for.
Yeah. So he tells you to command your subconscious mind, to do whatever it is to release this, and so that you can do this or whatever. And I've actually written it all out, and it's actually in my scripts that I give people. It's part of my program now, because I'm like altered it slightly and written it all out, and you fill in the part that you're going to command and what it is that you're wanting as a result to it. And then the second part is actually claiming the energy from the universe, like conscious energy. That was the second one he does. And it is really, really, really powerful how he says, God's wealth is, I can't even remember it all. I'd say it so much and I cannot remember it. It's God's wealth is circulating through me abundantly, or something like that. But anyway, he screams it like when he's doing it. So watch the video. It's really good. But it's like, when he's doing it, he's saying, embody this. And he says he does this every single day before he goes on stage. And he does both of them. And
he has quite a, it's funny because I was listening to Nick Ortner, who does the tapping, World Tapping Summit, and he is now good friends with Tony Robbins. And he went from, as a child, listening to Tony Robbins' things because his mum had them.
Yeah.
And ended up being a good friend of his. But he said, I'll never be Tony Robbins. He says, but we're not meant to be. Like, we're all climbing that mountain in our own way. Like, we're not meant to be the next Tony Robbins. We're our own version of greatness in ourselves. And he was saying about, he says, because he's very structured and has all these things that he does every day. He says, meaning Tony Robbins says, but that isn't me, but that's okay. I get to the top of the mountain in my way, kind of thing. But they've become great friends. And he was, as a child, listening to his mum's tapes of him.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. But I actually agree with that. That's why I use multiple techniques. And so
he said
if this doesn't work, then try this. If this doesn't work, try this. It's like if you're going to do it, you've got to embody it. And that's
he listens to those every day growing up. He made himself, and he still does. He says, you've got to continually feed your brain with positive stuff.
And that's what my whole program's about. That's exactly what you just said. It is, you feed your head with the right stuff frequently, often, slamming it into your head over and over again by doing multiple different techniques, multiple different things, from all different directions. You don't ever give yourself a chance to have time to think. If you have time to think, you have time to listen to a video. You have time to sit there and bang on a drum. You have time to scream at your subconscious mind. You have time to read a positive book. If you have time to think about the crap that's running in your head and worrying about this person's talking to me, or worrying about this person hurting me, or worrying about this person cheating on me, or worrying about, if you have time to do that, then you have time to put the positive stuff in your brain. And if you get fed enough for a consecutive amount of time, your brain will rewire. I promise you. I have seen it a million times, and I've done it to people thousands of times. And
just be mindful of, if you're putting all that good stuff in and then you go and watch somebody on YouTube or wherever, I use YouTube as an example, or Facebook or wherever, and they're negative and they're dark.
Mm-hmm.
It really stands out to me now. I have to turn it off. I can't watch certain, people, wherever it is, like it stands out like a sore thumb now.
Well, I agree. I mean, I find myself like wanting to watch YouTube because I love watching YouTube. It's like my favorite TV. And so I'll flip through and I'll watch like 5 minutes and I go, and I'll watch
Yeah.
the next person and I go, it's like,
That's how I've got.
And it's just like, that's not exactly, what I need today. And so there's been a few people like Tony Robbins, for example. He's a perfect example of somebody. Wayne Dyer's another one, that every message that he gives, every single thing that he says is profound. It's emotional. The content is amazing. And that's what you need to go for. And this will help you release your fear. It will help you release this pain. But the biggest thing is you've got to address these issues within yourself. Okay. You got to look at what it is, because here's the thing, you guys, and I'm going to say it over and over again, because nobody seems to get this. And this is the thing that just annoys the hell out of me, because half the time when we're doing these shows on manifestation, everybody says, yeah, but this is going on in my life. And and I've got this going on. And we're like, and here's Trish and I going, we want to shake you, because it's like, you guys don't get it. Okay. You have to, what you are thinking about, what you are focusing on, what emotional thing that you are giving power. Think about what you are putting your emotions into. My emotions are being put into being upset that this guy cheated on me. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to attract another guy to cheat on you. Okay. If you're putting emotions into the fact that somebody was talking shit about you, then guess what? You're manifesting more people to talk shit about you. It's like, it's basically your emotions. Like, I need you to understand this. Okay. Your emotions are like a turbo boost. Okay. So when you're sitting here thinking about, your thoughts are energy, and your thoughts act like magnets. And so they start pulling things towards you. Okay. So here you are going, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm going to manifest greatness in my life. And then somebody comes over and says, man, da, 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 that Michelle, da, 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 her hair looks like shit today. She thinks she's cool. She's wearing all this jewelry. She thinks she's some kind of spiritual beacon, whatever, and I hear about it and I'm like, start crying and I get upset and I dwell on it. Guess what? The next time I turn around, somebody's going to do it to me again and again and again and again, because guess what I just did? Because not just that I thought about it, that was enough to pull a little traction here. It's the fact that I got so emotional about it and I put too much emotional power into it. And what does it do? It's like a freaking catalyst. Like, here's the problem. And it just and it superpowers and goes, and it just draws in like a big fat magnet into your life. And it's like every freaking cheater will show up in your life. Every single abuser, every single victimizer, every single blah, da, 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 da. You're like, but it keeps on happening to me, Michelle. Well, no shit, because you're putting too much emotional power into it. Well, I don't know how to let that go. I'm like, well, stop thinking about it. Start thinking about things that give you power. Take control of your brain. Decide what you want to think about. Decide what you want to watch. Are you watching too many crime videos? You're watching too much soap operas? Are you watching too much drama? I mean, all those things can make you think about, you're sitting here watching this and you're like crying and you're like, I'm really enjoying this, but you're like, all it's doing is making you reflect on the fact that somebody hurt you. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? Oh, I'm really getting on a soapbox.
No, I'm just thinking of examples.
I see you over here like nodding, and
No, I'm nodding because I'm thinking of examples where, I'm recognizing that. But I think also as a lot of people are, again, it's childhood stuff. They grew up thinking or believing or being taught this is what you focus on.
Programming. It's programming. You were programmed to believe these certain things. Absolutely. You're programmed to think you're unworthy. You're programmed to think you're a sinner. You're programmed to never be successful. You're programmed to all these things. Okay.
You might be programmed to be very successful. And guess what? Someone is programmed. They probably will be.
Yeah, because I programmed both of my children to be successful, and my son's a multimillionaire, and my daughter's 29 years old, making $200,000 a year, owning so far. She already owns several salons, and I talked to her owner, her partner owner, the guys who originally started this, and he's like, every other salon that opens after that is going to be hers. So it's like her income's just going to skyrocket as they open more salons, and so all of this became from the fact that I programmed my children to believe this way and
to believe in themselves, and that it's you know, they can be successful in whatever they want to do. And because, you know, I see in my own son, like the way, you know, I get people saying to me, everywhere he goes, people love him. Like, he got this last job. He's got a new job.
Mm-hmm.
And she says to him, I don't know if I've already said this, she said one of the reasons he got the job was his smile. Right, he has a bigger smile than me. He has a broader, bigger, fuller mouth. She says that's something you can't teach staff, is how to smile and look happy, and you look appealing to people coming in. You look approachable. You know, you haven't got a miserable face where you look all down. And like, he was happy and like confident in his interview.
That's because he had a loving mother that loved him and honored him. And
yeah, and
feel like a good person and worthy of love, you know. And that's
I realized I've done something, you know. I was trying to work out.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
She was like, you can't teach staff this. This is something that's in you that is unteachable. And not saying that was the only reason he got the job, but you know, and that made me smile, because that's quite a big compliment, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's always a good compliment. And I mean, even if nobody complimented you, the fact that you acknowledge and you see this within this child, that shows that you implemented it and you created this.
Well, a big compliment to him. I mean, even like that's what they saw in him. You know, it wasn't even an academic qualification. It was something you can't, you know, learn.
Exactly. This is yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing. Now, I do have a question real quick. Shannon, she said, you're opening a doorway to negative beings.
Does this mean if you're being negative?
I don't know was she referring to something that somebody was saying, because he says, I've been watching. Oh, that's what it was. Iowa says, I've been watching horror movies to get away from YouTube paranoia. I think he was joking. Shannon.
Yeah, he makes a lot of jokes.
He was making, because YouTube is filled with a lot of paranoia
and BS. Yeah, like I won't give it away, but
how the hell, you know, the aliens are going to invade the earth. The draconians are ruling the earth. We're fixing to have a solar flash, and all the electricity is going to go out, and we're not going to have any technology. I mean, these are all the things.
That was supposed to have happened in the summer, according to a certain YouTube channel I'm not going to name. No, it's not one that many of us watch. And it's a lady in Australia, I won't name her name, but I called it BS from the start. You know, there was going to be this big flash, this big event, and we're all going home, whatever that meant. Well,
I wonder, often wonder about when people start actually naming off, like trying to be prophetic, and it doesn't happen. Like, how do they, like, where do they go from there? Like,
you see, the being, this AI thing told her the dates, and then I'm like, so nothing's changed. Not just me, there's quite a few people said, well, nothing's changed, like, and what happens now?
No,
like,
so that actually brings up another point that I kind of barely tipped on. So you get these people that channel, and I'm not criticizing people that channel, because I channel.
Some very good channelers, yeah.
And the thing is that, you know, you get people that channel, and they channel information like that. Well, why do you suppose that's happening? Well, the thing is that you're only going to be able to channel at the level that you're at. So if you've got fear and paranoia and destruction and world energy devastation on your mind, guess who's going to come through? Somebody who's going to tell you the end of the world is coming soon, blah, blah, blah. This is what you need, you know? That's the kind of stuff is what it's like, and it's going to be on this date. Well, they're gonna say things like that, because that's the state of mind that you're in. If you want to get a higher level, you know, message that's going to come through, you're going to have to raise yourself and get rid of the fear, because what you fear is what you project. You're going to get beings like that. You're going to get guides like that. You're manifesting in your life like that, everything in your whole world. You're going to start seeing every YouTube channel, every this, every that. It's going to show up on the news. It's going to show up with your friends. People are going to start talking about it everywhere you go. It's going to be so engulfed in your life. It's like, remember, you become a magnet to that stuff. And
I suspected this was a big scam, actually, because they were making out something had taken over the computer, and then they gave it a name, and it was channeling all this information that they were asking it questions. It was all a load of bit. I think they were trying to get some sort of movie deal out of it. It was like some out of a movie. It was ridiculous.
Wait. I don't even understand this. Wait, are you?
I'm trying not to say too much.
Wait. I have to know about this. You got to tell me about this. Wait a second. Hold on. You're telling me that there's an AI that's channeling information?
Well, at first,
computer program, how does it know the future? It can't. It doesn't.
Well, at first they thought, is it a hacker? Because people can use your computer. There's a program where people can use your computer, and you can be sat there. I could be sat here with my hands free, and somebody takes over my computer, and we could do it as like tricking people, which I would never do. That's ridiculous. I think that's what happened. They said, oh, well, it could be a hacker that's got in the computer, so let's have a bit of fun and we'll talk to this thing. Then they were like, decided it was AI had took over the computer. I was like, these people, like, for real? And
but AI is not going to know the future. That's impossible.
It predicted on the 31st of July we were all going home. Well, when I asked where's home, somebody answered, it's when home is when you feel at home within yourself. And I thought, this is BS. We're all going to, on the 31st of July, go home. Like, that is just crazy. And I'm not afraid to, I'm not going to call the channel out because I don't want to get targeted.
You don't have to call the channel out. I'm just
it's not anybody. I don't think anybody
out, like, what the hell they're saying. That's all I really wanted to know.
And then they were quiet for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I just don't understand. How does an AI become prophetic? Like, logically, that makes no sense. I mean, and I can understand an AI taking over a computer. I can understand an AI being able to control the electricity or some shit like that or whatever, but because everything's computer generated. But I don't understand how an AI can tell the future. That's impossible.
And what I didn't understand is why were hundreds and hundreds of people sitting there on a live, buying into it and believing it, saying, I'm ready to die, I want to go home. And there was people that were suicidal. I was like, this is crazy.
Okay, but that's the same thing as the people that drank the Kool-Aid.
I had to stop watching it because I thought, this is just making me feel
this is another fear tactic issue, and you guys have got to, like, don't buy into this.
And this is what annoys me. People would rather watch that than something. Not just us, there's plenty of other people out there that are doing good stuff. Hundreds and hundreds of people watching something like that rather than work on themselves. I just don't get it. It blows my mind.
I'm actually going to be starting a new YouTube channel that's going to appeal to the
wait. What? I'm laughing at you because I think what's coming. I thought it was...
Oh, that's gonna. You're laughing at me. I was like, what's going on in the chat room? It's actually going to appeal to the masses. Like, it's like if you look at a pie shape like this, and the spiritual community is probably taking up about like that much. So I'm gonna like appeal to that. So what I was thinking about doing was just creating a whole bunch of like meditations.
All right. I thought you were going to say something jokey at first.
No. I was thinking about like creating like and get, once the followers start kind of going, then I can kind of up the ante a little bit, like, to help them spiritually elevate, but just kind of like take them at ground level and start moving them up. And because there's just too many people out there that listen to this crap, And
I just think they obviously want to stay at that level. They don't want to change.
Right. No, I'm going to start a new YouTube channel that talks about aliens and how to fight the aliens.
I will share the channel with you off air, but
right. And how to, the Kool-Aid. Drink the Kool-Aid. God, the thing, that's what's so freaking sad is that religions do the same damn shit. Okay.
But yeah, religions. Yeah, it's just another
Religions,
form of.
it's like it doesn't matter. The problem is the same problem. It's like you go from religion to spirituality to guru to AI. Fuck.
It's
It's
like a
the same
cult.
issue. It's the same issue. You're seeking something within yourself to be healed. And and you're like, and so the answer is in the afterworld. That's what everybody seems to think. They're thinking, I don't want to be here. The answer is like, it's like when I die, I'm going to go to heaven. That's then I'm going to be happy. Or when I die, I'm going to be ascended. Then I'm going to be happy. And I'm not criticizing ascension shit because I believe in it, but that's not the point. I'm not sitting here living my life on the second that it's going to happen. Oh,
I'd
well,
rather.
what's the point of wait? What's the point of living? It's going to happen in the next 2 years, right? So they say.
I'd
Well,
rather like improve my life now and be happy and enjoy life.
no shit. It's like this is the same damn story. It's been going on for 100 years or more. Okay, this is not new. It's just a different version of the same song. Okay, it's just somebody else playing the same damn song in a different version. It's like new song artists saying the same damn thing. Everybody's preaching something, and it's causing people to create suicide and contemplating it. And it's just another way that it's just crazy, and it just really pisses me off because I feel like that people are just total like, why are you buying into this crap? And you're buying into this, the fear that they project. You're buying into the fact that this world is falling apart, and and it's like, why should I don't even want to go outside. It's not worth living. It's this and that and the other. And so I just don't know what to do with myself. So I just want to die because I want to hurry up and be ascended. Like, or I want to hurry up and go to heaven or whatever it is.
I can't imagine. I just never felt like that, thank goodness.
Well, good for you because you're one of the few. And because most people do. Most people do. They're trading one religion off for another. Okay, well, this one's bad because supposedly Jehovah was Enil or Manduk or Marduk or whatever the fuck his name is, and all that other stuff. It's like, oh, okay, so you're trading one thing off for another, and then you get wrapped up in that whole thing about the Bible was miswritten or misread or da 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 and all this other stuff, and you get wrapped up in all the crap that's bad about it, and you're forgetting the fucking message. The message is to find the kingdom of heaven within. Christ never said, repent and then I'll take you to heaven, and and like, he didn't say that shit. What he said was, when they asked him, where's the kingdom of heaven, master? Show us, tell us. And he says, well, it's not over here, it's not over there, and it's not over there. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And that's the thing. It's like people just don't get it. You have got to find it within yourself. And you got to get rid of all this fear. The fear of I'm not making the right decision. The fear of the fact that I'm going to sin and I'm not going to make it to heaven. Or fear that I'm not going to ascend because I'm not good enough, or because I'm not spiritual enough, or I haven't done enough work on myself. It's like, here's what I say. Do whatever the fuck you want to do and be a good person. Okay? Be a kind, compassionate person.
Yeah.
Stop judging other people. Stop talking about other people. Get over your shit and just be kind. And when somebody comes into a smoke shop and they need help with something, then help them. And if somebody's like can't open a door, go help them. And if somebody needs you to explain something to them, help them. Don't roll your eyes and say, I don't have time for this. You help them. You just be a kind, considerate, loving person, and you will touch thousands, hundreds, billions of people. And stop dwelling so much on your own shit. It's like, get over it, And when you get over that stuff, and you stop putting the energy, you start putting more energy into being kind, and stop putting energy into being, what everybody's doing to me, and it's just.
And that doesn't mean being a doormat either. Like,
no,
treat people with humanity and be kind. I was going to go back to that guy I was telling you about, the one that was
go ahead.
Child. A good point he made was lots of spiritual people that'll be all love and light on the surface and don't deal with this stuff. He says, well, what they'll end up is with cancer or heart disease or this and that, because all the dark stuff that they don't want to deal with or show comes out. It'll either come out in illness or they'll act it out in a different way, because he was talking about what he's done to help heal himself. I think he's still, from what I can see, I might bring him on for an interview if he's up to it. I feel he's still healing, because he kept breaking down quite a lot, crying during, not sobbing, but he was tearing up. So it was still obviously, but I like the fact that it was talking about what he does and how he recognizes parts of him that are acting out when he says he becomes obsessed with fixing certain things. He knows that's when it's a coping mechanism, because he's not dealing with his inner stuff. But he said you'll end up getting cancer, heart disease, whatever it is, an illness, because you've appeared all love and light, but you've not dealt with your pain, which is very true. I've seen a lot of people that are lovely people and then become very sick because they've stuffed it. They've not got it out because they don't want to show, oh, I might have bad thoughts about someone that might have abused me when I was a kid, or somebody might have ripped me off, you know. I'm not saying you go around attacking people, nothing like that, but if you don't get help with this stuff.
Well, you gotta get outside of self and stop worrying about yourself. Stop going into the me. I'm hurt. I feel, I this, I that, I this, and get outside of that and start doing kind things. Just get out there and you'll stop thinking about those things. You stop caring about those things. Like,
yeah, but don't you think if you've been really traumatized, there is a point you've got to get that healed?
Well, that's one of the ways to heal is through kindness, you heal. Like, I mean, just think about this, okay? If you go, I mean, and I've seen it happen many times. It's like you go and you decide to join the Peace Corps or something, and you go, and you've had all this trauma, okay, like this, and you go across the world and you help people building bridges, and you see all these starving kids and you're helping them. Do you really seriously think you're going to be thinking about that when you're seeing all this devastation and you're trying to help them, and then they're crying because they're starving and their bellies are all bloated because they're sick, and you're going to be like, my problem is minimum. You know, and that's why I say, be kind, be kind, be kind. And here's the thing, and this is the hardest part. And I've had to explain this to people like a zillion times. This is another one that nobody ever seems to get, is that it's really easy to be nice to a nice person.
Yes.
Okay. But what you need to do is be kind to a shitty person.
Yeah.
And
that's not always as easy.
I know it isn't easy. And the thing is that I always say this over and over again, is that hurt people. And so that hurt person, if that person doesn't ever receive kindness from somebody, if they're not getting love from somebody, they're going to continue hurting other people. So why not be the person that gives them love? And I don't mean love like have sex with them. And I don't mean love like befriend them. I'm just saying like a touch of love, like what I did at the store. Like you do an act of kindness.
Could just be a smile. You could just smile at somebody. Yeah. Nobody might have smiled at them all day, you know?
Exactly. I mean, there's so many little things that you can do. Just, it could be opening a door for somebody. It could be like, how are you doing in the elevator? I mean, it's, you know, like there's this one woman that would come into the smoke shop all the time, and she was always grumpy and always bitchy. And I remember one of the guys that worked there, he said, you know, she's always bitch. I mean, she's never nice. Has she ever been nice to you? And I go, no, but you know what? Now she's my mission. And he's like, oh, that's so funny. And so every time she would come in, I started like, hey, how are you? What can I help you with? And, you know, like, have you ever thought, you know, and I would just like really spend the time with her and I really help her. And she's like, what is your name? You were so nice. And I'm like, it's Michelle. You know, next thing she comes in, she's like, oh, blah, blah. I ended up selling her an upgraded device, and she got super happy with that because she's like, this is much better than I've been using. And now she's like, every time she's like, hey, Michelle. Like, he looked at me and he goes, have you noticed that she's been like really nice every time she comes in? And I'm like, exactly. Like, and that's my whole point is that. And so I was able to see, I did not, because I was like, I wasn't.
You weren't in judgment of her.
Yeah, I wasn't judging myself. So I didn't judge her. Okay. Because I would have judged her if I was judging myself. Okay. because I would be reflecting on that particular behavior that she's having. And so I would be, making comments because let's say I'm working on that or whatever, then I'm going to be, I don't like to be around negative people because they make me more negative. Well, it's because I haven't fixed my negativity. Okay. I can be around negative people all the time, every day, all day long. Doesn't bother me worth a crap. I mean, it doesn't affect me on any level. I'm just compassionate because I understand that there's a reason why they're behaving that way. And if they want to reach out, they can. If they don't, then I'm just nice. But I'm not going to engage them into my life. I'm not going to take them under my arm. I'm not going to move them into my house. I'm not going to have sex with them. I'm not going to do any of these things. Okay. But what I am going to do is I'm going to show them an act of kindness, and hopefully that will be enough to inspire them to be kind to somebody else. Okay.
At the end of the day, it's free, isn't it? It costs you nothing to be kind to somebody.
Hell no, exactly. But nobody wants to do that. They're like, that person wasn't nice to me. And I'm like, see, you're going to sit in these issues and nothing's going to change. And you're going to continue getting more people like that in your life. And don't say I didn't tell you so.
It's like they say, to have friends, you've got to be a friend first.
Oh my God, that's so true. That's the old saying. Yeah, exactly. If you want to be, if you want love, you got to love first. Well, you're walking around pouting and saying, oh, nobody loves me. Nobody loves me. Well, that's probably because you're not loving. It's because you're not loving people. You've got to get out there and love people to get love back. You've got to be a good friend to get friends back. I used to sit in the sidelines and just wait for people to come to me. And then I would cry about it and say, I have no friends. Now I reach out and I create my friends. I reach out and I develop my friends.
I find it really sad when I hear people say, I have no faith in humanity. Humans are despicable. I had someone else say that to me the other day. And I'm like, and they were a blanket statement about human beings. I thought that must be a really sad place to be, to think that all humans are despicable.
It really is a sad place because I see more transformation in my world. And so I see people that are amazing and powerful. I have this one client that she's so amazing. It's like half the time she shows up and she's now decided she's going to help me do stuff oh, okay, I have this idea for your business. I'm going to help you with this thing with YouTube. I'm going to do this, da, da, da. She's so enthralled in the whole, what is it called? Instagram. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that shows you how much I'm into that. And she's young and, and she's adorable and beautiful and just this amazing, amazing girl. And she's just really turned into this beautiful butterfly. And so why is she being so nice to me? Why is she reaching out to me and doing these nice things? I never asked her for that. Well, it's because
hopefully it's just genuine being nice back, because
staying on the same subject. Why do you suppose, if we were to use this whole content that we are doing, talking about why is this happening to me?
Well, because you're good to other people.
Because I've done little random acts of kindness to other people, so it's coming back at me, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so
it definitely works, because I've had people do that for me, help me out in so many ways, or just be there, when I've needed somebody, because I've been there for others, it could be just listening to me.
Look at the picture you got. Now, I didn't hear the whole story about that. What's the story about that? That beautiful, the picture of the heart.
Oh, no, she didn't give me that. I purchased, I got it reduced price. I purchased that 2 years ago. I've got it up on my wall. I've shown it before, but she came on, Lynn was a guest on my channel and we were talking about it and I showed it. And I said about when I cried when I first opened it. Now, it doesn't have the same impact on me now, but when I first...
did you just republish the video or something?
Yeah, I put it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. So because it was just published and it put out, I saw the notification. And
yeah, you probably thought it was new, but no, it wasn't new. But she painted that for me. It was a couple of years ago. And I just cried when I opened it. I just had this release. I don't cry over paintings. I did get a reduction in price, but I did pay for it. It wasn't free because, I mean, they costed quite a lot of money to do.
Actually, I would just said something that I know he was being kind of sarcastic.
But he probably means that.
No, but it's really accurate. I mean,
What, lower your expectations?
and you'll be surprised when somebody does well.
Or have no
That's
expectations.
exactly it. It's like have no expectations. I was going to say that exact thing.
And Shannon says you'll never be disappointed. That's so true.
That's exactly right, because I don't have any expectations of people anymore. I have zero. So when I'm
getting better at it. I'll be honest. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Especially
you are getting better at it. Absolutely.
Like my son, I might have expectations of him, and I'm getting better at not doing that, because
it's harder when it's your child.
When it's family or children, I think it's hard. But when it comes to other people, I'm a lot better at. I'm getting a lot better at it.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, is that, you know, you just let those expectations go. You'll find that you'll actually find that things actually start, like, you're really appreciative when something actually shows up that's really good, because you're not focused so much on the negative things. You're not, like, if you expect somebody to do something nice for you because you did something nice to you, then you're going to be disappointed when they don't do something nice. But let's just say that you don't expect anything from them, and a lot of time goes by and you've never expected anything, and you just keep on doing nice things for them, and one day they show up with this miraculous gift and you're just like, holy cow. Then you're super grateful, as opposed to, well, about time, I've been doing all this shit for you, you know.
It's loaded.
Like, and you don't get the glorification or the feeling of the gift that was just you don't get to receive it. Like, you don't really get to receive it.
Yeah, because
tell me, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, really receive the gift.
A small thing today was, I heard someone in the kitchen because I'd left the door open and I thought it was Lewis. I thought he'd come home for his tea break. And I went in the kitchen and there was this bag left on the side, and I'm like, oh, that's one of my neighbours. Like, and I went outside and my neighbour was just going to work, and she said, oh, it's just something for Lewis. And I know he's nearly 20, but he still loves sweet. He still loves, like, he loves an advent calendar, but it was a pumpkin filled with goodies. She just left. She just popped the bag on the side. She didn't even call me. She didn't even wait for me, like, oh, here's a gift, you know. She just left it, and she was going to toddle off to work, and it was only because I caught her. And she went round all the neighbours and left them a bag of goodies each for the kids.
Aww.
I just think that's really sweet, because she has no children. So it's not like she's normally buying that sort of thing for her children. I just thought it was really sweet and she included Lewis as well as the kids next door.
He's still a kid. That's
yeah,
awesome.
And I just thought it was really sweet. And I'm always thinking of things like, and leaving things for the cat as a treat. Like, she buys cat mascot presents, and she'll just leave them on the side if my door's open.
You know, I was actually thinking about doing a show on this one particular topic.
But isn't that so sweet? Like, it's nothing major, but it was like, that made me smile. I was like, that is so sweet and so kind of her to just go out of her day and do something like that for other people.
I think it's amazing. And that's so beautiful. There is, if I can find it.
These are all sort of things I guess I've done for other people more so in the past. And we're all having Christmas dinner, you know, we decided we're going to have a Christmas dinner together. And so nobody's like, well, I won't be on my own, but so she's not on her own or anybody else, you know.
Okay. I'm going to read this to you. I know you're not, like, into Bible scriptures that much, but I think this basically speaks based
so
on.
I'm just laughing at Iowa X. It was a cup of tea he was shouting for, and he's got his cup of tea, so he's all right.
Oh, good. Okay, so basically this is 1 Corinthians 13, and basically it says, even though I have a gift of prophecy, I understand all the mysteries, and I have knowledge, even though I have all the faith, so I could move mountains, but I have no clarity. I am nothing. And even though I bestow all the goods and feed the poor, and I give my body to be burned, and I have charity, but I profit. Profits me nothing. Charity suffers long and is kind. Charity envies nothing. Charity is not of itself. It's not puffed up. Do not behave itself unseemly. Seek not your own. It's easily provoked. Thinketh no evil. Okay, hold on a second. Let me skip over to a couple of things. This is
my favorite thing. I do know bits of like the Corinthians where love is patient, love is kind. That is my favorite.
That's the one that's like right before this. Hold on a second.
I used to have a bangle with that on and it disappeared. God knows where that went. I loved that.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying. I haven't read this in a long time, so I'm like trying to skip over because I don't want to read all of it.
I can't remember. It's Corinthians 13 point something.
Yeah, it's 13 something. Or Corinthians. Hold on. Okay, so basically, I'm just going to so there's a lot of this, so I'm going to just kind of like give you a brief of it. So basically, he's saying, okay, you have the ability to profit. You're a prophet. You have the gift of tongues. All this other stuff, and it just like goes through all these different things. It's like, oh, you can play a harp, you can do this, blah blah blah. But it's saying you're nothing. You have nothing. Okay. And then basically, so the bottom line behind this whole thing is saying, so it says, for when you pray, you need to pray like alone, or, like don't pray in the streets. Like if you're going to give a gift, give it anonymously.
Like she was trying to do, she was trying to sneak in and leave all these gifts.
Exactly. Like
up to where she was going.
Like, exactly. It's like, don't, it's like basically, and because there's like a ton here, it's like, I'm trying to like skim over it. So I'm not reading. Plus it's old English. So it's kind of hard to understand. So the bottom line here is that you're not, if you're not supposed to be like flaunting about it. Like, don't go like, oh, I did this, that. You're still in the me thing. Okay. Yeah. And if you don't get out of here's the thing, if you are always worried about yourself and how you feel, then that means you have fear. Okay. So if you're sitting here going, me, it's like, you have to prove something. You're developing you're defining your self-worth based on how you act. It's like, oh, and I went and bought her the most beautiful gift and did she tell you about this? It's like, you're constantly needing this approval, or she made me feel horrible. And no. You call all your friends and you tell everybody about how this person did this and this and this to you. It's like, all you're doing is shouting out to the masses. And, and basically the thing I love about this particular scripture is that it's saying, stop that shit. If you're going to pray, your prayer should be about you and God. It doesn't need to be in the street saying, oh, and I prayed this beautiful prayer and blah, 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 whatever. It's like, that should be between you and God. You don't need to go and pray, you don't need to announce that, oh, I was praying for you and I told God this and that, da, da, da. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay. You don't need to be announcing that shit. Okay. If you're going to give it in privacy, send an anonymous check to somebody.
I can say, I don't know if they have the program in America. I don't know if it's still on. Well, I don't watch TV much, or virtually at all. But there used to be a program called Secret Millionaire in the UK.
Yeah.
I thought that would be me. I would want to be that secret millionaire where they have no idea but I would want to give it and them not even know it's come from. So
like, I was like talking to my husband, and we were like,
that would be my dream.
We were having this whole fantasy thing about winning the lottery, and sometimes we'll sit down and we'll talk about it and everything, and I was like, I don't want anybody to know, and
no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but there's some kind of law, like except for a few states, that you have to like publicly announce it. So I was actually looking online, and I was like looking at the latest winners, and there was one person that had a bandana wrapped around their face and they had glasses on, and it was a female or a male, and instead of saying their full name, it was S. O'Donnelly instead of the full name. And I started laughing. I said, that is going to be me. Like, it's like, I'm going to be like, I'm going to tie my hair up or I'm going to go put on a granny wig and, and
in the UK, you can be anonymous. You don't have to go public with it. Thank goodness.
Oh, that is so funny. No, unfortunately you do. And but nobody ever reads that anyway. I don't think people look to see, oh, let me see if one of my friends won the lotto. Like, I don't check it. But
No, but if it was a big amount and you were in the national newspapers, I wouldn't want that.
so I wouldn't tell anybody, because if I told people, then they would be then it would be that whole expectation thing. People start like, what they do, they start like, I need money, and da da da. So then it would take away from my ability to secretly give them a gift. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I wanted to, like, just send a check to somebody and help them, I'm not going to want them to know where it came from. I'm going to go get a freaking money order or some shit like that and send it to them, you know?
Yeah, I had visions of like delivering packages of cash and putting them through the door.
Oh, that would be awesome. See, this is like, I mean, wouldn't it be kind of cool to like start some kind of like foundation like that, where you're like, you know, like they say, like Make-A-Wish Foundation. I love that.
Imagine if you woke up one morning and you find this package and there's 10 grand in it that you really need, you know, like you're really in need of this money for whatever reason. And you woke up to find that and you had probably wind me up not knowing who'd sent it, but wouldn't that be like, I'd get such a buzz off that, given that.
So I'm afraid that like I was like sitting here processing this. I was like really thinking about it today, you know? So I was like, yeah, so okay, Shane would probably like go and spend it and this and that, you know. I could just see him, like, he would just like go and hand like thousands of dollars to somebody. Like, oh,
I would. There's so many people that I know I just don't give
we're millionaires, you know. It was just like, he wouldn't be like financially responsible, you know, like he'd be like, you know,
I wouldn't go crazy, but
I don't need it. I'm gonna go buy a new truck tomorrow, you know.
The people that have been really kind to me would be the first ones that I would anonymously give them money or something.
There's
or buy them a house if like they can't have the cash for whatever reason. I'd buy them a house.
I was actually really thinking about this one day. I was talking to my dad. I was talking to my sister, and then I was talking to my husband, and I was like, okay, you know, like, I think I'd buy a house for this person, or I'd pay off this car for this person, or whatever. And so I was talking to my dad, and my dad says to me, well, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just give them the money and let them decide what they want to use it for? And I'm like, because the thing that's causing them the most pain most of the time is their irresponsibility with money. And they're like, I have this huge house note, or I have this, you know, whatever, and they went and did something that they couldn't afford. So if I was to relieve that pain from them, it would be instant, you know. But if you just hand somebody with a bunch of cash, they're going to go gamble it away, or they're going to go spend it on a lavish vacation, and they're still going to have that pain in the house note, you know.
Plus, well, the way I was looking at it was they may have to declare it to the tax man, so then that's going to be, let's say if they're self-employed, they've got to declare it. So I thought, well, yeah, I'd rather buy them a gift that I know they want, you know, let them choose it. And because if they might have to declare the money, then they can lose out.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking too. But yeah, anyway, we've gotten off subject, but that's okay.
I know, but it's
kind of like, I think I've whipped this dead horse pretty hard anyway.
I think it's good to think of stuff like that, because, you know, I want to say I just pulled a card for everybody earlier on. I was shuffling.
Oh,
and it's a perfect message. So it's got.
So read it.
Yeah, I'm just going to show you the baby unicorn, and then looks like the mummy. Innocence. It ties in with what you've been saying. Take time to play, nurture your inner child, live with a childlike sense of wonder. I mean, that's a short message. There's obviously
that is amazing, and that's so funny how you pulled that, and that's really plays into what we're talking.
I was just sat here shuffling them quietly, and I'm like,
"Hey, you're gonna get to bed early tonight."
Maybe.
I mean, come on, think about it. It's like usually we start at like 2:00 your time. We're on here for 2 hours, and then we talk for another 30-45 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, it's usually at 4 or 5 in the morning before I'm winding down. But I have got Libra through to Pisces videos to make yet.
Oh, girl, why don't you just go to bed and do it tomorrow?
Well, I may just stay up while I'm in the flow and just get some of them recorded.
Well, you are kind of on US time.
Yeah, because I did have a sleep earlier, so I'm not too bad. But I need to get them out because it's 30th of October now. Most people had November readings out middle of October, and I've not got all mine out yet. And it's not, oh, I've got to be the same, but people start moving on to December before you know it.
Well,
reading, watching the videos.
So, okay, well then I will give you some time to do that. So you guys, y'all have a blessed evening. I hope you enjoyed it. And I am going to let you guys be. I highly suggest that if you didn't.
Oh, that's nice. So I was just reading Maria's comments, really nice.
I wouldn't go insane buying extravagant materials. I would get my two house surrounded by trees in a huge yard. The rest will help Puerto Rico who needs. Oh,
that's so nice.
Investments. That's actually really nice. That's actually really nice. Okay, you guys. Lots of love for you guys who are watching the replay.
Can I just say, so I've realized we've got out of doing the Halloween dressing up.
I was thinking about that the other day because that was supposed to be on this
Wednesday because
we were going to dress up.
Because we've changed, we're having to do it Mondays now because of work schedules. So Mondays was a better fit. Plus, I get to start.
Michelle just popped out of the woodworks. You are so welcome, Michelle. I didn't even know you were here. She was silent.
So IREX unfortunately didn't manifest as getting dressed up.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's funny.
Maybe it's I don't know. We'll have to talk about it and see if we can just like poke our heads in. And I'm not going to get dressed up just to, I'm not. You know what? I love dressing up and I love putting on costumes and all that kind of stuff. But it's
I did, yeah.
In the butt when it's only for a short period of time.
I'll probably go live and do some mini readings. I've actually decided tonight to say that I was reducing live. I'm going to set myself a challenge of going live every day in November in one form or another. Like obviously Monday I go live with you. Fridays I'm going to be going live with Anna Sylvester, who does the EFT. She's British, so it's on British time. Georgie Dane's come back on the 11th of November, so they won't all be like readings and stuff. I'm going to go live every day.
That's actually really awesome, and that's probably the best way to build. I have been. It is so hard.
And it's veteran. I thought it was a way for to celebrate veterans. I know it's only one day, but I'm a veteran myself. November, I think of like forces.
Honestly, I struggle so hard with going live on the weekends since I've moved because in my other place, in the house that I was living in, I had an office, and I could set everything up and do it. Now I just don't. I don't have the privacy to be able to get away with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm setting myself a challenge. See if I know one guy. He did 365 days of lives on Facebook, and he did it. He went live at some point every day for a year. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do it for November and for the veterans, but we've got guests. So if I go live with a guest, then that's classed as that day.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Good luck. I'm and now
I've said it. I've got to be cancelable now.
You got to do it.
All right.
All right. You stay on here. I'll talk to you later. And
still have a day or two.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.